All right, everybody. Grady Paulson here, Family First Life America. So excited to have Christo Bolger on with us. Where are you from?
I grew up on San Juan Island in Washington.
San Juan Island. Is that, you said it like I should know where that is. Is that like an island that doesn't have roads?
It's really, there's no stoplights, no fast food, boat or plane.
Boat or plane. This guy came from he's a caveman, as you can tell. Exactly. So Christo Bolger, been with us 18 months.
Yeah.
Last month, his agency protected 280 families. This month, ballpark?
We just had a conversation about that this morning. We're shooting for 450.
Shooting for 450. Talk about goals. And his best personal month has been 110 families protected. Christo is driven, he's focused, he knows how to get agents up running, and he knows how to sell insurance. This is a call you're gonna love. So I'm gonna calm down for a minute. I'm gonna pass it over to him. Give us some background, and then we're gonna do two parts with you. One about agency, because you've done a tremendous job with that, and then second part, if you're watching this video right now, look for the second part with Christo. Is going to be how he sells IULs, Index Universal Life Policies. So we'll start here with you little back, wherever you got going on, and we'll go from there.
Sweet. Well, my name is Christo Bolger. I am super grateful to be here. Thank you for asking me to speak. We were at the convention, and Grady's like, "We got to get you on the podcast." I didn't know it was going to be like 3 days later, but I'll take it.
Quick here, bro.
I love it. Little background on myself. I grew up on an island, moved to a bigger city. Moved to Arizona about 5 years ago. I had owned a digital marketing company that I started when I was 19. Transitioned over from digital marketing, web design, SEO, all that stuff into life insurance when I was 25. So I just turned 27. Incredible. Extremely grateful that I made the jump. Scalability, profitability, opportunity, like all those things. I had been grinding for so long. So to get into this industry, to be honest, has been a dream come true. One thing I will say is the most successful guy in my family, guess what he did? Insurance. So he owned a company called M Financial, and he actually passed away last year. So when I got my insurance license, it was kind of like the metaphorical passing of the torch.
Wow.
So that's one of the reasons that I really run this opportunity up. And he had 2,000 agents on his team. So
big goals. You're gonna pass him.
Yeah, that's the goal. That's the goal. I had told him that. So a couple other things on the background. I'm very transparent about this because I think people's whys are the biggest thing, and you can feel that in people's work ethic and their energy. But I have a big why. I'm clean and sober. I've struggled a lot in that department since I was really young, and in July, I'll have 2 years clean and sober, which is pretty crazy. That paired with this industry, it's skyrocketed every single area of my life. The accountability, the consistency, all the things that we talk about in personal development. Like, I'm able to show up every single day, work 6 days a week, work on the agency, be aware of the things that I need to improve on, and, overall just get better as a human being. So, yeah, I mean, anything else you want to know in the background?
No, that's, how did you find insurance? Like, what were you doing? So digital marketing, then insurance. Like, if someone was out there looking for other Christo Bolgers, like, this guy's a stud, how do I find more guys like him? Like, where do we go hang out to find more reviews?
So depends on which year.
I want 2 Julys ago.
Okay.
2 Augusts ago.
Perfect. I was in rehab.
Okay. All right.
Let's see. So I would say, for me in the digital marketing category, I grinded so hard on the industry, and I was always around business owners and trying to expand my business over and over and over again, but I could not really duplicate it because digital marketing is a hard thing for people to sell. So with that, I got around someone that was in insurance, and then I kind of did a math equation in my head, and I was like, hey, my uncle built this empire, which is what you had me speak about. I should have talked more about that at the convention, but something just clicked. And when I decided to get sober, I was like, I got to switch up what I'm doing. It's not working. Like, the income was decent, but I was not fulfilling what I feel like I'm put here to do.
Sure.
Right? Like, I want to impact a lot of lives. Yes, I want to make a lot of money, but like the combination of impacting lives and being able to scale something. Like my goal is to be a Grady Paulson, you know? And this is the business where I can do that. So
I hear you, bro. Well, you're going to be a Christo Bolger, and people are going to say that about you. Okay.
one day.
All right. So let's talk about where you're at with your agency, and we'll get to some sales here. But I think that what you've done so quickly and the way you care about your team and how you get them up and running is one of your, one of the valves of your heart, if you will. Like it just keeps you, it helps you beat. What is it like? So let's go two parts. Where are you finding good quality people to build your agency with? Because there's two muscles we build at FFL. One is the sales muscle and one is the agency building muscle. And both you can build empires and massive incomes with. And both are incredibly fulfilling. We serve clients, we solve problems for clients and put products in place which relieve stress when that awful day comes. And we solve stress with people where you say, hey, this is a great opportunity where you can sell life insurance and get incredibly compensated for it. Mm-hmm. And so where are you finding great people and what are you doing to get them running? Like what's their first week look like?
Okay. So where I'm finding great people, I think everybody has social media for the most part, right? But in my opinion, people do not leverage it the right way. It's great to keep people updated on your life and the stuff you have going on, but guess why I have Instagram? To make money. Like, yeah. I like posting my life and keeping people updated, but it is an income tool and it's a money-making activity for me where I keep people updated. So for me, the majority of it has been social media.
Okay.
And it has not been, cocky or arrogant or anything like that, but I've had my phone out and I've been like, hey, this is what I'm doing. I was in digital marketing. Guess what? I'm in life insurance now. And I've kept people updated consistently where I think where people are waiting for something to fail. Now it's been long enough where even the people that talk trash about me in middle school and high school, they're in my unread messages like, hey, can I get a job? Right? Where it's working. So I think one of the biggest things I've done is just keep people updated, not too much information where, people in solar, roofing, mortgages, real estate, they're like, hey, this guy's doing something and I want to be involved in it. Another thing that has really helped me is doing promoted stories. Okay. Where I'll ask people some questions that they have about the life insurance industry. I'll get a question. I'll post the response of my story if it's a solid question, and I'll promote that.
Okay.
So then people are reading that, they're experiencing the answer, and it's like, hey, I'm interested. Send me a message.
Ballpark, what do you spend to promote a story for how long?
Literally like $200 in a week.
$200
if it's okay. Quality content where I think people can, that's why I talk about my sobriety and stuff, because a lot of people don't, where they can relate and it's authentic, it's real life problems, where combining that with the work ethic and the transparency, like I know people are like, hey, I'm going to trust this guy because I'm talking about the most vulnerable areas of my life and it's on my sleeves. Mm-hmm. So I think being vulnerable with people and sharing the day-to-day of, hey, this is what I do, this is how my day went. Giovanna, who spoke at the convention,
she did great.
Because of the convention, now she's posting a story every single day for 30 days. And she's like, hey, this is out of my comfort zone. This is what my day was like. This is what's going on. Because guess what? The majority of America right now is not helping the families or making the money that we're able to do here. And I think people need to know that, hear that, and understand the breakdown of the industry, what we have going on, and also understand, hey, you got to work your butt off and expect to. It's not just like, hey, I got my license, I'm going to make a ton of money now. So I really try to set the tone with that. And that has brought me so many people where now it's pretty wild from a couple of my mentors in other industries. They're referring me people.
That's cool.
So it's changed. It was an uphill battle with the rock on my back where it's like, are we going to fall back? And now it's like, I'm not at the top of the mountain, right? There's so many more levels to go, but just effort wise, it feels like I'm kind of sliding down in a good way where it's not as much effort because of the work that's been put in.
I think people like to see behind the scenes, right? Yeah. They like truth and authentic and all the things, but they like to see construction. They like to, or the development, right? And when you talk about your sobriety and what you've gone through and overcome, it gives some people confidence and also shines a light on other people. Go, I have this problem too. If he overcame it, I mean, that's a powerful story. I mean, it's a drive and discipline, right? So in that same aspect, when you do a combination of both of just being one, it's being honest, like everyone needs to have a sobriety story. Yeah. But when you go, this is what we do, I'm dialing the phone and protecting clients. We made we have an agent. People like to see that. Now, does everyone like to see that? No, but the people that don't like it will stop watching.
Yeah.
And those that are curious will keep watching.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you've got this tribe of people that are following you and watching what you're doing. And then all of a sudden now they go, I really like to work with you. I've been doing this for a while. Hey, great. I've seen all your YouTube videos. I'm like, cool. Which was your favorite? What do you want? What's the next step? Are you interested in doing this?
Yeah.
So I think that's fantastic, man. So social media, any other cold market aspects? Anybody that doesn't have I mean, that's.
So I used one thing I want to say, if you don't have a social media following, you need to put the work, the effort, and the consistency to build that. And you need to have a conversation with yourself of like, what do people want to see? Like, you have to be honest with yourself, because there's some stuff I've seen people post where it's like, that's the opposite of attractive, and let's just be real about it.
Got it.
And authentic. But another thing that people can use, I used a recruiting service for 1 month, and I bought a whole bunch of leads through that. And I mean, there's an agent that's in the office dialing right now that's from that. He brought me another agent, and now they have 3 more agents. So I think it's just how you take care of those first.
Everything works a little bit. That's a great line a mentor said. Everything works a little bit. And if you only focus on your warm market or whom you know, then you'll never get into some new cold markets, right? Yeah. That's always the goal. How do I get into someone else's, how to make someone cold warm and then get into their warm market?
Yeah.
It sounds like what you're doing, bro. So awesome. So now, you've got them, they're interested, they're excited. You get them licensed, the license, contracting, all that fun stuff. What's launch look like? How do we get them up and running?
So thanks to Josh Williams, we have a boot camp that's set up in a process, and like, we have an amazing admin, which is huge, right?
Staff.
Like, that's been a game changer. We had a conversation. I remember we were in here a while ago, and Nina was like, you need to get staff. Well, I partnered with AJ. We use the same staff. It's amazing. So that's been a huge game changer, but
awesome.
We have a step-by-step system of, hey, this is what it looks like. It's on the website. It's a full breakdown. So there's no questions or anything like that. And it holds me accountable too, because some days I'm working so much where I'm like, I got to look at this list real quick and go back. Right. And so going through that, getting everybody set up on everything. I would say the biggest things after contracting, going through the boot camp, definitely watching presentations. And just like we talked about, you got to be on live dials to watch that.
Yeah.
I really want people to watch 10 presentations at least before they get on the phones, because you don't know what you don't know. And when people get on the phones a little bit too early without seeing the full process, they don't even know when they're missing out on 2 or 3 families. And, I really try to get people, their brains wired with that process of, hey, this didn't work. This is where I'm going.
It's cool.
So that they don't drop the ball on that. After that, I think hands down, the biggest thing that we have done well, we have, I think, 8 agents in the office right now. I get in person and train with my people, right? I've done decent in this industry. I want to do better, but I'm always going to make time to work with people, because I know for me, I needed that to get pushed out of my comfort zone. I did not know anybody. I came to an event in this room. I didn't know anybody. It was super uncomfortable.
Okay. My
life was in the gutter, and I take that energy and remind myself of, like, how would I want to be treated?
Sure.
So I try to give everybody the same opportunity, and Scotty does that too, even living in New York. Like, what can we do to get hands-on training where, like, they feel empowered and part of a team, even when they're brand new?
Yeah.
Because that's really uncomfortable. New industry, new stuff, new material. I'm reading a script. I'm on Zoom with all these people I don't know, and they can hear me. Like, is my camera off? All these things that are very realistic anxiety factors. I think I've kind of gone through that and been like, how can we address this early on and, like, get people in? Because if you stick with the herd, you're not going to get taken off. If you're the one guy out here, guess what? Yeah. Every single agent that has the I'm too cool card. I made this new script and I'm working alone doing this. I was that guy because I was a lone wolf doing digital marketing, right? Like, yeah. I've worked from home since I was 19 till 25, built my own thing. It was a rude awakening, and I'm grateful. My ego was at a very low point where I'm like, all right, I got to do this another man's way.
Got it.
So that's what I try to implement with new people, and really get in the trenches with people, because they like that.
Like, I think the 10 presentation thing is fantastic, right? Yeah. Just, this is your responsibility. You get on here. This is your homework for this day, this week. I mean, if you get on live dials, enough live dial rooms, you're going to see bunch of presentations.
Yeah.
You're going to hear them done a few different ways, but in the end, you're going to get the gist, right?
Yeah.
Take control, get some information, overcome objections, present the numbers, overcome next objections, get the app.
Mm-hmm. Which the coolest part about this too, anything that I'm telling you guys, I can't take any credit for because it's regurgitated from other people and I just implement it because I know it works. Like there's stuff that's come down from you, stuff that's come down from other people where it's like, I can't even take credit for my success in this. All I can take credit for is the consistency and the fact that I ripped my heart out, put it on the table, and I'm like, we're going to get you guys paid.
R&D, rip off and duplicate.
Yeah. Yep. I like that.
That's good.
Like
okay. So 10 presentations. They got a checklist of things they need to do, from contracting, maybe getting software set up, get their logins, that type of stuff. It's dialed in. What is this? I've seen my 10 presentations. What does today look like for me?
So the night prior, we're going to make sure you have all your leads and everything set up, because I've had so many people that right when I'm ready to start dialing and we're ready to go, it's like, hey, I got to get this set up, or phone burner, or ringy, or whatever.
Got it.
I have gotten better over, messing up with that, where I set intentions where they're all ready. 8 a.m. We're like, I remember watching a video of you 7:50 if you're not by the phone and ready to go. And that really resonates with me. So leads, whatever system or software you're going to use for dialing, additional phone numbers, all the stuff, have your license printed just in case you get into that situation where you need to set it. Like, preparation is big, because when you're new and you need to get paid, when you drop that sale, it's devastating. Yeah. And I can't always control that, but I can tell people how to be prepared.
Sure.
But depending on where they're at, I'll be in person. We'll get them rolling. 300 dials, right? 2 different dial sessions, 300 dials. We're trying to, nice. We're trying to get 2 to 3 presentations each dial session. And then the goal is a sale.
Got it.
So and this was taught to me by Josh, I have never met somebody that has been having an issue where I try to diagnose it, where I'm like, hey, are you doing 300 dials per dial session? Are you doing 2 to 3 dial sessions per day? Are you checking all the boxes? It's like, yeah, but. And I'm like, no, are you doing that? Guess what? They're not. So that's the biggest thing. And when people switch their mindset and go back to the basics, guess what? 2 to 3 days later, or if they're brand new, I think really setting intentions with that, of like, this is what it looks like. This is what the grind is. We get to make all this money and have all this opportunity, but guess what? You need to get really comfortable at dialing a phone.
Yeah.
And I think perspective is everything with this business, because do you know how many people I know, like, risking their life, their freedom, their back, all these things to be able to make, a 1/5 of the money, or a 1/10, or whatever it looks like, where I think really keeping that gratitude, this sounds corny, but gratitude list in the morning, really set intentions on what you're grateful for. It makes dialing way easier. Like, we're blessed. So I really try to bring that in with people and set that tone when they're getting used to this. Because guess what? If you hit 300 dials, it's a win.
It's a check.
If you did two or 3 presentations, it's a win. Maybe you did 100 dials, but you got 2-3 presentations. Second dial session, you get a sale. Boom. That is one thing we're really good at. Same with Scotty. And I would say all the people that have people coming on their team, they're really good at getting people paid quick.
It's a goal. So the way you talked about it, I loved it, is you analyze the numbers, right? So how many dials did you make? I made 300. How many contacts did you have?
Yeah.
I had 2 contacts. Okay, well, you need new leads or better leads, or your number's spammed, or we need to switch something. Okay, how many contacts did you make? I made 35. Okay, how many presentations did you actually get through? 2. All right, we need to work on your open, because you're not taking control. How many presentations did you make? 27. How many closes did you have? None. Okay, your script is terrible. Okay, how many closes did you have? I had 4. Okay, well, we still need to work on it, because we need to get that significantly up. So you look at the numbers and you have them track, and then you can actually analyze where the problem is if I have if I'm made 300 dials on new leads, you should have 20, 30 contacts. I mean, because 300 dials is actually 100 leads, right? So we triple dial here. We counted each dial is a third. Actually, each real lead is a third.
Yeah.
But we make ourselves feel better. A guy's like, I made 1,200 dials today. I'm like, Jesus, let's go. But then you're like, well, I mean, so he called 400 leads, or he called 4 leads, 100 leads 4 different times, and got $1,200. Regardless, we're beating the heck out of them trying to reach them. And when you can't get hold of them, what are you going to do? Send them to Ethos.
Yeah, exactly.
it's straight. We're gonna get you, Dolores, and we're gonna protect you. Yeah. And Janine's gonna love it. So we're gonna figure it out. So okay, so the goal is getting them up and running, getting them prepared the night before. Throw them to the phones, get them Zoom. First day, first week. Tell that story about Dakota.
So Dakota, he was actually supposed to be here today, and I'm going to say that so he can rewatch this. But
what's up, bro?
What's going on?
We got lunch for you.
So Dakota is awesome. That dude's amazing. He was doing construction, and he was making about. Can I talk about how much he was making in construction? He was making between $2,500 and $3,500 a month. I got on the phone with him. I had a serious conversation just to kind of set intentions, like see where he's at, what's his why. He has 2 kids, and he's got a big why. I'll say that. We have a similar background. Dakota says I'm here. So funny. Okay, so when he started, right, we had scheduled a lock-in conveniently the first day that he started.
Okay.
So super uncomfortable. If you don't know what a lock-in is, definitely reach out to me. You should be doing them. Highly recommend it. But we all got an Airbnb. We got all new agents together. We get together for 3 to 5 days. Everybody's dialing. Everybody's super loud. Everybody has leads. And the whole point is to get as uncomfortable as possible, but also learn as much as possible, because you're sitting next to people. Maybe you got a brand new guy over here, but you got someone that does 40, 50 families a month as well. And you could see how they click on the computer, the full conversation, right? You can do that on Zoom, but it's different.
True.
And that's what actually changed everything in this business for me, was watching someone do that and experience that. So he came to the lock-in. He had actually called out of work that day, the construction job. He grinded his butt off. He got a sale. He's like, man, I might have to go back to work tomorrow. I was like, what do you think about calling in one more time? He's like, all right. So he called in again. He made another sale or 2 the next day.
Nice.
So he's like, all right, I'm going to call in again. And he did that, which I don't always recommend this, right? I'm trying to keep good graces with employers and stuff like this. But for this story, it hits. And the 3rd day, he came back to the lock-in. He got another sale. And watching the level of belief of someone in such a short period of time, where the next day they call in and quit their job, right, and are super confident about the process and fired up, and like their life is changing right before them, and they're taking their life like by the reins for once. Absolutely insane. And I've watched that guy grow so much, personally, professionally. I've watched the dynamics of his family stuff change, like all sorts of amazing stuff. And it's because this business, and also the leadership. Like, I can't take credit for any of that. I'm not referencing myself, just the leadership that we have at Family First Life. Like, it exposes you to a different realm of life, in my opinion.
I agree. It's everyone does so well, and that they're doing so well that they actually want to share the truths.
Yeah.
Like, I've been in business sales organizations before where you do okay, and other people that do okay, that are kind of maybe doing a little bit better than okay, they're like, I don't want to share with you how I'm getting out of okay and doing better, because then you might steal my market share.
Yeah.
And here we've got 2 million leads in the CRM, and there's 100 million people between the ages of 18 and 84. Yeah. Probably more. Yeah. But that are eligible, that are eligible. I think it's 164 million people in that age bracket of people that we could potentially put our product in place with. Yeah. That's a pretty cool opportunity. So it goes, hey, this is everything that I figured out. Here it is. I hope you do well. I hope you do better than I do, because rising tide raises all ships. So I love it, dude. And great story, Dakota. Any final thoughts about new agents and getting people off the road before we jump to our next topic?
I think there's a couple things. There's some specific stuff that comes up, but the most impactful thing would be get out of your own way. There were so many things that came up where I had to do like an inventory, like a mental inventory of what I was doing. And what I realized is I was doing 50% of what I was asked to do. And it was unintentional. It was like anxious, being scared, being a new industry, all this stuff. But in reality, I can tell you this, 0 BS. My life, professionally, personally, financially, spiritually, every single category has changed and probably 10x over the last year that I've been extremely serious about this business. And I check all the boxes every day. I was sick for like 3 months, felt absolutely horrible, but the level of consistency that I've developed through this business, I was like, I'm showing up every day, 6 days a week, Saturdays. Like, I'm not here to just hang out. Like, I'm here to make an impact. Like, I want my mom to have the coolest house that she's deserved from everything that I've put her through. Right. And
awesome,
like that is happening right now. So if you're a new agent, my best recommendation would be like really sit down with yourself, do an inventory of where your life is at, write down what you want and what you're willing to sacrifice to get there. Follow through. Not for 3 days, for a year.
Grady Polson here, Family First Life America. Beyond excited to have Christo Bolger on with us, an elite producer. Best month, 110 families protected, and he has taken the bull by the horns and is writing a significant amount of IULs, and as well as continuously educating himself and leading a team that are focused on IUL level business as well. I'm going to ask him to dig into his process, his salesmanship, his educational. What is it that's empowering you from a process standpoint, from inventory questions? How are you getting the level of production you are, and how are you also explaining the benefit of IUL? So how are you getting appointments, and then how are you explaining it to clients to make them simple for them to understand?
Deal. First, super grateful to be here and be able to talk about this topic, because when I came into the business, I was so afraid. I'm like, ILU, fixed index annuities and IULs. I had no idea. And, that was a big deal for me to conquer that. And then I realized, when you get out of your own way, how much opportunity there is, and you just got to educate yourself. YouTube University, talking to people that have done it before you. And what was the first question again? Sorry.
Where are you discovering them?
Okay.
And then perfect. How are you presenting them?
So my process with this, there's just regular leads that you're coming through, right? So you're doing an inventory on these people. The combination for me is, what are their goals, what is their age, and what is their income, right?
Okay.
I think that's one of the biggest things, where then I'm putting them into a bracket of, hey, this is a potential opportunity.
Okay.
For some of them, depending on the age, I'm still going to set them up with a basic policy depending on what the situation is.
Okay.
But I would say the biggest thing is where people are at in their life and what are they trying to do. I think, do they have a retirement set up? The best possible lead you could get would be a 1099 salesperson that makes 200 to 400K a year. That's 30, 35 years old, because they're not going to have a retirement set up. Are you always going to get those? No, but you have to find those opportunities. And because I know what my target client looks like, guess what? It's like slug bug. They're coming across a lot more.
You have a son? Oh, Dolores, nice to meet you. What does your son do?
Yeah.
Oh, he does this. He's an engineer. Oh, perfect. Where does he work? Oh, he's independent.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I actually need his number in order to make sure this policy. The policy was got you. Perfect. Hey, John, nice met with your mom, Dolores. So keep going.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, when you do the research on these products, whether it's an article, a YouTube video, like Scotty Rapp's in here with me. This guy's on YouTube every Friday and Saturday night. He doesn't go out. Like, him and I are texting about index universal life policies and fixed index annuities, where you got to educate yourself, because if you're educated on it, you're going to feel really comfortable talking to people about it, and you're going to see those opportunities. Because when I started, guess what? I probably missed out on protecting an additional 300 families my first year, right? People, even fixed index annuities, people are like, yeah, I'm good. I have $1 million in the bank. And I'm like, okay, there's nothing I can do for you. But
you don't want 30,000 of Eagle? Like, why not?
Exactly. I just didn't have the education, and now I've gone back through and I've rediscovered those opportunities. But I think it's a combination of really running your leads and understanding what they're looking for and finding the gaps in whatever they're telling you and then hold them accountable to it. So you got to work the leads. You got to have a conversation with them. You got to dive into, like, people are afraid to ask about someone's mortgage and their retirement. Guess what? You wonder why you're not making the money you want to make. When I really started doing an inventory and asking the uncomfortable questions, guess what? The worst thing they can say is, why do you need to know that? Oh yeah, Mary, this is actually about life insurance. So I do need to know where you're at dynamically so I can actually serve you best. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah.
Right? Like, you'd be doing a disservice to the client if you didn't ask that, because guess what? What if they die and they only have 30,000 and they have a $400,000 mortgage?
Yeah.
Or they have no form of retirement set up. So I think when you experience more of those situations, you're going to dig deeper and deeper and deeper. And then you're going to find someone that's willing to fund 30 families annually into a policy. Part two of the question.
So that's where you're finding them. You're just working your leads. No specific.
So here's one thing.
Working your leads for goals. What are their goals? Retirement, age. There's a target age. If at some point that you age out of this policy, it's not going to grow enough, and a different type of a policy might be more efficient.
Yeah.
And income. What are they trying? What is their current income? Can they afford to fund it? Right. Yeah. So those are your like three, check boxes that you're looking for when then going to pitch.
Yeah, I would say for someone, if they're making over 100K a year, right?
You got to present it.
Yeah, I think if you're in that bracket, especially once you get over to 200, and once again, you got to be asking the questions about income and stuff like that to really understand it, because some people will get a little cocky and arrogant about that, and I'm like, perfect. In 5 minutes,
why do you need to know that?
Yeah, exactly. But when you have that information, you can really hold them accountable to what they're telling you. And then I think another couple tips are, it's like, depending on the industry, I would research the industries that people work in. Just off the top of my head, solar, obviously life insurance would be great, but solar, real estate, trucking, all sorts of stuff like that, where you can really target that market if you want to run additional Facebook leads or stuff like that, or promote it on Instagram. Like, I've gotten a decent amount of IULs from Instagram. And the other thing, you want me to go into the taco truck story?
I want you to go on every story.
Okay.
But as you hold that exactly where you're going, we're going to be posting a video in the next day or two from a guy who's generating all of his leads for IULs on TikTok. And he's going to teach you how to do it. It'll be up shortly. So look alive for that. You can don't email anybody. Just wait. Okay. It'll be up shortly. If you're on YouTube, it's going to be on this channel. Look up or look at the next couple videos. It's a video how to generate TikTok. So keep going.
So if you want to be creative, and when I started my digital marketing company, I was walking into every business in the city that I lived in. I'm like,
so you're a hustler?
Yeah.
So you're saying you got to hustle to make a lot of money?
Oh yeah. Okay. You still got to hustle. You got to hustle. You got to be creative. Leads are great, but guess what? When you can generate an opportunity for free, other than a little sweat equity, and have the leads and still have the bread and butter of final expense, mortgage protection, all that stuff, you got to pair all of those together, in my opinion, if you really want to build something special and give the people that you've brought on the right resources. Because if you haven't done it, you can't really speak on it. So something that I did that was way out of my comfort zone is I found a couple different industries and did some research and found some people in Arizona. I'm not going to say the specific industry because it would overlap probably tomorrow. Okay. But something that I did was I got a taco truck. I paid $1,500 for the taco truck, and I brought that to a company where they have a ton of sales guys that are 1099. I did a full presentation. The owner was stoked because their guys all got fed.
Sure.
It was super good food. I actually loved it as well. Okay. And I went over whole life term. And then I basically was like, I'm really here to talk to you about Index Universal Life. I'm like, who has a retirement set up? They're like, what?
What's that?
And then the other question, how many people make more than 200K a year? Right. So that, and taking those opportunities paired with the leads, you're really going to get a lot more educated, because guess what? I had
how many appointments out of that?
15
appointments.
Still pending, a lot of them, where we're going through some stuff, trying to figure out some underwriting. But
will you make more than you made on the taco truck?
I would say probably 100x.
Guys, there's opportunity everywhere, right?
Yeah.
Was it risky to go rent a taco truck and call up a business owner and say, I'd love to present something, but feed you guys at the same time? Sure. But what's he going to say? No. What is he going to yell at you? Is he going to say,
Yeah.
don't ever call my business again, offer my people free food? No, he's going to say, okay, cool, man. Come on and check it out. Who are you? And you tell him who you are. And all of a sudden now, everybody should be renting taco trucks this weekend and getting some IUL presentations.
For sure. And it was cool too, because the owner really believes in the product as well. And he's funding 4 families a month into a policy. So
it's fascinating.
I think you got to take the shots with this. You got to educate yourself. And if you really want to make a lot of money, get in touch with people that can run Facebook ads or this thing. I've never even seen this, is the nitro leads.
Yeah.
Like, get some of those. Try a new realm of stuff, because guess what? When you get on the phone with someone that's looking for an index universal life policy, you're going to have to get really educated.
Yeah.
And I'm not the guy. I am not the smart. I said, I have the IQ of a squirrel, but my work ethic beats everything else out. So I'm the guy on the phone. Hey, I actually don't have the answer to that question. I'm going to call you back here in about 30 minutes. Is that okay with you? Because I want to make sure I'm answering it correctly. I'm not schmoozing. I'm just, hey, straight up, I don't really know that. And cool. I think that you could sound dumb to someone, but guess what? It's going to build trust because they know you just put the time and effort into getting that. So don't be afraid to tap into that or have that conversation.
Okay. So we've got a few different models of leads, social media, and taco trucks to get potential IUL clients, which is fantastic, Christo. Now you're either on the phone, going to present it.
Yeah.
Like this is your long, kind of like, this is what my goals are. I want to create a retirement. I have $2,000 a month to invest and I'm 39, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So you've got kind of the basis of who I am, and you're not pitching me, but you're kind of giving your general benefits. What are the general benefits that you want to make sure that if you hit these 3, 5, 7, I don't know, whatever points you've got, that's going to cover 80, 60, 80, 90% of the questions or create the value for that potential lead? How do you pitch it?
So biggest thing, there's no risk.
Okay.
Right. I would say for where things are at economically right now, people want their money protected. And when you explain to someone the protection factor paired with the compound interest, I think that's huge. Well, I think if you really can show someone a presentation, let's call it 7%. Okay. If you look at money growing, let's just say this is what I structure the majority of my policies to. So if you can build a policy up to $1 million of cash value, 7% interest, you have $70K a year after that. That's super simple math. It's very transparent. But I think when people can plan on building their retirement up to $1 million and allocating those funds, then if you know you're going to get between 70 and 100K that you can pull from tax-free a year, that's where people are like, oh, okay. Oh, I might want to keep it in a little longer. But I would say a combination. All right, Grady. So with this, it's great. You're going to have the death benefit.
Okay.
That's awesome. Right. But what we're really doing here is we're structuring this for retirement. Right. So what I'll do on my illustrations is at age 65, I'll have them starting to pull money out of the policy. Right. Okay. And then I'll also show them a presentation, depending on who they are, of keeping the money in there. So they have variation. They can see that, because when you don't pull the money out at 65, that compounding
between years is crazy.
65, 75, you're talking about boom, boom, couple $100,000 a year, depending on how it's structured and how much they're putting into it. But I'm going to say this for Scotty Rapp too, because he's sitting right here. One of the best people to explain an IUL and the living benefits is Scotty Rapp.
Well, come here, get up here and let's get up work this.
Yeah, come on. Guest appearance.
Take my spot.
And this is something that
Scotty Rapp. How you doing, buddy? All right, you take it over. You're gonna. This is a special treat, everybody.
There you go.
Pleasure to be here with you.
So one thing I do want to say, Scotty and I have a similar background, and we both had a conversation one night super late of how do we tap into FIAs and IULs. And we were both nerding out about index universal life policies. I'm like, what are you doing another day? He's like, I'm watching these YouTube videos about IULs, bro. Right? And
Literally.
and that is the amazing part of this business. When you want to win, you're going to put the effort in. But yeah, I actually want to hear this from you. How do you break down an IUL? Because the living benefits and how you put that together is awesome. You and I both do it a little bit different, but both work, and we're both closing. So I want to hear yours.
First of all, it's great to be here. So the first thing I do basically in an IUL presentation, it's never over the phone. So it's always a Zoom call. I believe the illustration pretty much does all the selling for you. I mean, if you're showing the client numbers based off what they're contributing and how the illustration, the data in the illustration, because in the illustration tool, it's based off the last 20 years of data. So pretty much I get on a Zoom call with them. I basically let them pick their own premium. So I'm going to do it, based off target premium or max funding, however we decide to do it. I explain both sides of that. And then I really focus on three different sides of the plan. So first and foremost, the death benefit, John. This is going to go to your family if you pass away. That's the first thing we have to take care of with the plan. And depending on what assets they have, mortgage, business, I'll wrap that death benefit into, okay, this is the insurance piece. That's one aspect of the plan that you're paying for. And then basically, I'll go through the illustration tool at each age increment, like 5 or 10 years. I'll show them, John, this is how the plan has performed over the last 20 years. So, for example, if you fund in $1,000 per month, per se, at age 55, based on the data, this is how much you'll have in your cash, which is liquid cash. So, John, think of this part as your savings account, right? You have full control over your funds. Your cash is accumulating. You're indexing, so you only have upward potential. There's zero floor for loss. So if the market goes down, John, you don't participate in any of the loss of the market, and then you're only able to gain cash upward, right? So you're only participating in the increase. I'll explain the index, basically what the index does, depending on which one we choose. And then if they want to illustrate it for income, I'll have them fund into it for a certain amount of years. I'll put the lifetime income benefit rider on there, and then I'll show them, hey, basically, when you illustrate the plan for this premium for this long, John, at this age, this is what you're determined to have as an annual income for the rest of your life. So the insurance company is going to pay you this income to the day that you pass away. And then I'll pull up the official illustration again, and I'll show them the living benefits. So depending on what company you're using, NLG, FNG, whatever the case may be, I emphasize living benefits like it's the whole plan. Because John, if you ever become critically, chronically, terminally ill, and then I pull up Google and I type examples of chronic illness, and there's like 20 different examples on there. So I'm like, John, if you have this one, this one, this one, or this one, guess what? They're going to send you a check for $300,000, $400,000, John. What if you can't work for the next 2 to 3 years? Your business needs to be operated and you're the main guy and things are falling apart. It's going to be pretty beneficial for you to have a $200,000-$300,000 check for living benefits. And then critical, chronic, terminal illness, NLG, FNG, they all have different benefits. So there's Alzheimer's disease benefit, even critical injury. So Johnny, you drive into work one day, you get critically injured or whatever category that falls under. They're going to send you 200 and whatever thousand, just example of what the illustration could be based off what they're paying into it. And then I just wrap that all into one formula. And then I say, hey, let's push the application through. It's worth a shot. I'm not sure. They do deny a lot of people with IULs. So I only get on a Zoom call with them if I feel like they're suitable and they'll get approved. But most of the time, it's hit or miss. Basically, you got to go through that first.
Yeah.
And then it's just about drilling the value, reminding them, and then they're getting to the point where like, oh, this makes sense. Wow, this makes a lot of sense. And then it's just game over. It's pretty simple.
I think it's, in my opinion, the best product that is a no-brainer if you can explain it correctly. I mean, just how you went through it, you got to take notes on where they're at in their life and what benefits they need. Because some people, in my opinion, I'll listen to them pitch it to someone, but it's like, you need to lean on this side because everyone has something. We can structure this for the face amount, so they have a ton of insurance. We can structure this for maximum cash value. We can structure this to have money coming in after 6. Like there's all different ways that you can sell it. But I think the biggest thing is getting out there and experiencing that. And you're just going to get better and better and better. Cause we had F&G. Can I talk about comp in regards to different carriers? So we had F&G on our team meeting this morning. I built a really good relationship with them because NLG didn't approve me for whatever reason. And they, yeah, love F&G.
Love them.
So they came on our team meeting. This is the second time in a month that they've done it. And I've never had a carrier actually get on our team meeting, which is amazing. So I love that because I'm getting my agents educated on stuff that I didn't even know how to do 2-3 months ago. Right. And side note, F&G pays 20% higher commission than NLG. So just word to the wise.
We have a call with NLG.
But getting to go through that today, because there was a couple questions that him and I had, it is so powerful of what you can create with people. If you want to be able to sell an IUL, what you need to do is get on some illustration software and play around with it and make up some situations in your head where if this happens, this is what I'm going to do, because you can really structure it any way that you want. You can essentially get a whole life policy set up for the price of term, or you could get something that is a compound interest monster that you can legitimately build a legacy with and leave a lot of money behind. So I think IULs are very powerful. And, just like this guy, he's very well versed, and we've had to role play and talk about it, but we've gotten better,
Yeah, you just have to basically dive into it and just learn as much as you can. And it's a learning process, but you got to just throw yourself in there with the fire, and once you're there, you're there.
So you said you guys are very well versed now, right? So carrier education you've taken,
Yep.
and you said YouTube. Is there any like books or YouTube videos or channels or anything that couple top 1, 2, 3 things that you have bookmarked that you circle through to kind of continue your education?
What was the YouTube channel that you and I were going back and forth on? Can we, on the comments of this video, him and I will post a couple links, and then I'll post a link to a book on Amazon as well.
Cool. We'll have resources below. So
yeah.
Cool. Well, guys, thank you. Any final thoughts on IULs? Any final closing? What do you close? I mean, I love the takeaway, right? Because all insurance is health-based unless it's accidental, right? Mm-hmm. So, John, we don't even know if we can get you approved. We need to put a question for coverage and see if they'll even approve you. If it was up to me, I would approve everybody, but it's not up to me. Yeah. So, God forbid, we don't at least find out if we can.
Yeah.
Sure. Is there any other things you do to tie it down? Any other documents you leave them with? Any YouTube videos you send to them? Hey, watch this while we're waiting for the application to go through.
So I've sent a couple YouTube videos out to people because even if I get them closed, we go through an application, there's so much to it that they have more questions, which I love, right? They're interested if they're Googling it and checking it out. But the great thing is things like TikTok and all this stuff, you got Waka Flocka Flame on TikTok talking about infinite banking, and grandmas know about it, right? So you have a lot more information that's been pushed out there, but you need to send them reputable sources of people that I've actually gotten training from that break down, and it's very realistic. So I think that, in order to do that correctly, you got to find a couple people that are selling a lot of business in the industry, take that, watch that yourself, and then find the next version of that is more client based and fire that off to people. So I have a couple, I'll post it in the comments to here, but it kind of helps solidify what we have, and they're like, let's do it.
Okay. So hypothetically, and we'll end with this. You got a client that puts a $2,000 a month into an IUL.
Mm-hmm.
Just ballpark, basic, simple, $2,000 a month. Approximately, what would a new agent make on that sale?
So it's going to depend.
Just average. We don't have to go too many scenarios, but just,
it's residual.
I'll just say this. So it depends on the target premium and how you structure that, right? Okay. So you need to do some research on that. If you have any questions, you can reach out to me on Instagram. If the target premium is $2,000 a month, it's going to be 24 families that gets deposited in your bank account. So,
well, that's like a whole neighborhood.
Yeah, for sure. So if you get really good at this and you get out of your comfort zone, the month that I had last month, I'm still waiting for some of it to issue, but absolutely life-changing.
Yeah.
absolutely. Like, same with this guy. We had pretty much similar months, so it's absolutely amazing to watch that.
Hey, appreciate you guys. Everybody, drop 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 your favorite emoji. Thank you, Scotty. Thank you, Christo. Well, guys, a tremendous call, incredible value. Thank you for tuning in today, and thank you both. I appreciate the heck out of you guys. It was a great, great call, guys. So we'll see you next week. Bye for now.
Thanks for having us.